This is Michelle Hughes from Ageless and Timeless. Today's podcast is brought to you by Water and Wellness. Recently, I had the opportunity to visit Water and Wellness at their offices, and I can tell you that as far as you and I are concerned and our health is concerned, this is one of the most important places that you can go to find water that is purified and products that will help your longevity and your overall health. Visit waterandwellness.com to learn how you can take control of your drinking water and learn about those natural additives to optimize your health and longevity. Contact Stacy at 877-296-6880. Use the Ageless code and you'll get a 20% discount on all your products.
My love for you is immeasurable. My respect for you immense. You're ageless, timeless, lace and fineness, your beauty and elegance.
Well, hello everybody. This is Michelle Hughes, and I'm in Los Angeles today, having a wonderful day, visiting a beautiful woman that I'm going to introduce you to. Her name is Sandra Costa, and she is a very unusual designer because she's not just a designer, but she's a design build. And, to find a woman, as I know, because I'm a developer, to find a woman who can also design a home in the architectural context, then build the home, then furnish the home. So I'm going to just try to flash the camera to show you a little bit of this beautiful home. And here is Sandra sitting next to me.
Hi, Michelle.
So hopefully you can see some of that, what she does, which
Behind us.
Yeah. Tell us. Why don't you tell us a little bit, Sandra?
Well, how nice to be with you today. I'm really happy. It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you. So, okay, so I'm going to try to, we're doing this by Zoom. As you can tell, the camera's a little iPhone, so our little Samsung, but we're doing our best to make this very compelling so you understand a bit about Sandra and what she does in the and seeing her work. So Sandra, tell us, our viewers, how did you get started in this very creative and very demanding position of being a design build?
Well, Michelle, I'll tell you right now, and to everybody who's listening, I think I was born doing this because I actually have some artwork that I've recently framed that I saved since I was 10 years old, and I was sketching and designing houses and furniture when I was in New Zealand. By the way, my accent is from New Zealand, if by chance you're wondering where I'm from.
Right.
So I was born with this creative, driven sense of color and structure and design. So it was a very natural career for me to fall into because it's just who I am.
So was there influence from your parents or any genetics that were a part of what that, early life passion? And what was that?
Absolutely. My mother, incredible woman, was a fashion designer and troubleshooter for many top design stores in New Zealand and Australia. So when I was following along after her, she was showing me fabrics and patterns, and I think that gave me my very first taste of what it was going to be like to design.
But what about the contractor side? That's always a bit of a surprise, I'm sure, to most people, that you know how to do architectural drawings, you know how to get CAD CAM and get all the permits and the structural, and then actually build the house.
So, Michelle, I have the ability to be able to get inside the project before it's even designed and see it from the inside out. It's just a talent that I have. And yes, I do provide all the architectural drawings and the engineering and the structural, of which I did on this beautiful home right here, and then go ahead and do all the interior design, build all the furniture for the
inside. I forgot to tell everybody, she also has a manufacturing facility.
I do.
35,000 square feet, where she actually manufactures her own furniture. So much of the furniture that you see in this home, which I know we could show you on the screen today, but just so you know, the address is 641 Elkins in Brentwood, and the home is on the market for sale. So we'll give you a contact with Sandra in a little bit so that you can, if you're interested and you're in the buying mode, you can come have a look directly with and by contacting either me or Sandra. And then we'll put you in touch with the proper people.
Oh, actually, you know, may I mention that Marcy Hartley is a great friend of mine and probably the best real estate agent in town. And she's with Hilton and Highland, and she's got the listing on this. And together we're just like
a team.
We're a team, yes. Okay. And so I'd like to be.
Well, she picked the right team, actually. I know being a developer, having a realtor that you can trust and who works really hard for you is a gift. And so the fact that they have that team is something that is very, very unique. Well, let me just give you a little background how I met Sandra. So I'm very close friends with a man who is just a genius. His name is Marco Derry, and he's here in Beverly Hills. He has a firm, he's called an influencer, which is quite interesting because what he does is he helps to communicate with digital technology in the post-transformational world about celebrities and VIPs and people like Sandra. And actually, I humbly say he also interviewed me, and I'm very honored to have that happen. But as we were chatting, I found out that Marco's passion is to cure the opioid crisis. And this is something that everyone knows is one of the biggest challenges in our lifetime. And Marco wrote a book. I'm going to flash that book. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. It's called Heroes of the Opioid Crisis. And can you see that, Tony? Oh, I don't know if Tony can hear me, but at any rate, this book has gone through how many publishings now? Is this the first one? I think this is actually the first one. Yeah. First one, but he's had a number of different celebrity events and people who have been interested in contributing to this very challenging crisis that we face. And guess what? Sandra Costa is one of his biggest philanthropist contributors. And she's not only put money, but time. And so when I asked Marco, you know, I'd love to be able to showcase some of the work that you've done for the world. And he said, well, then you need to meet Sandra. So that's how we met. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about the opioid crisis a little bit later. I'd like to first know that that's the platform of today that you need to hear about and maybe take some action on. But in the meantime, let's find out a little bit more about Sandra. So, okay, so we found out she's a Kiwi girl, and she lives here in Los Angeles. And, you know, she has a huge clientele. And I was looking, she doesn't talk much about who they are. She's very, very protective, which, by the way, that's not always the case, as you know, with realtors and design and contractors and so forth. So she has so much self-confidence because she doesn't need to get new business to showcase who she's done work for. People know who she is. Mm-hmm. So Sandra, why don't you tell us about some of the most interesting projects you've done without divulging who they were for?
So I've had a fabulous career, and I still have a fabulous career, but one of the projects that really stands out in my mind is when I had a showroom at the Pacific Design Center here in West Hollywood, and this really beautiful Chinese woman walked in, probably in her 50s, 60s. And I immediately stood up and I came around. She introduced herself and she said, I've flown across the world to come and meet with you. And I said, thank you. She said, because I've chosen you to be the architectural designer for our family mausoleum. Now, Michelle, I'm an American woman.
Right.
Well, from New Zealand.
Yeah, right.
And I said to her, you know, to be quite frank, I'm not really sure, is a mausoleum that big or this big? And she said to me, Miss Costa, I've got no doubt you'll find out. And I did actually. A mausoleum is the place where her family was going to be buried in the mountains of Guzi in China.
Right.
And it was such a it was such an amazing project. And months later, she called me back and she told me that, she told me that it was the most innovative design that she had ever seen. And she said that she had spoken to everybody. Now, I've only designed one mausoleum.
Right.
And I
would
probably
say that-
will only
I-
ever
right,
design one mausoleum.
right.
But from there on out, I've just had wonderful projects. And I mean, I just love it all, interior design and
Well,
building.
when you were doing that mausoleum, did you have any feelings of like weirdness about the fact that you were designing for burial for dead? Let's just say
No, it was an honor.
it was an honor.
It was an honor. And because I have natural intuition, and this is what she liked so much about me, is that my intuition, I was able to feel about how she would feel as for the family. And so when I presented to her that the lower part of the mausoleum would all be engraved with the beautiful poems of her mother and father, she knew I was the right person for her. But from there, I also did a wonderful castle in the south of France, and I did have a connection with that castle. And that was for an Egyptian family, actually, who hired me. And then at first I thought, oh, this is kind of interesting. And then one night I was out with my girlfriends, like you and I go out for a cup of tea or for a coffee. And all of a sudden it came to me and I had this vision. And I was the young woman who lived in that castle in the 14th century. And I called the clients up and I said, I definitely would like to do the castle for you. And when I was there, my clients sat there and said, do you see yourself in the gardens? And I did.
And you said yes.
And I did, yeah. So they're the extraordinary projects. And then the other extraordinary projects are just my wonderful clients that I work with on a daily basis here in Los Angeles. Yeah.
So is residential your primary or is commercial also in your portfolio? I think I read somewhere, maybe on your website, that you had done restaurants and have you done office buildings?
Yes, and recently,
so you have done
yes,
commercial.
I have. And the way that I came about to be in the commercial business is I'll have a residential client who will then tell me, Sandra, I have a building for you to do, or I have a restaurant for you to do. And I've done some fabulous restaurants, including the Los Angeles Theater in downtown LA and the Egyptian Theater.
Oh, wow.
And yes, and I brought in a couple of colleagues to work with me on that, Paul L'Esperance and Dalen Corey, and we just did a fabulous
that
job.
Egyptian theater is an icon. Right?
Well, they both are too. The Los Angeles Theater in downtown LA was actually built by Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, I didn't know
yes,
that.
and that was an amazing. And you can see that. I have a website, but I also on House. Do you know what House is?
Of course.
I happen to be a favorite on House.
Yeah, House, by the way, everybody, is HOUSZZ.
No S.
Oh, no. Oh,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
here we go. May I?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so if you'd like to see my work on House, it's HOUZZ and a slash, and then Pro, PRO, and a slash, Sandra, Sandra, Costa. And then you'll see 53 fabulous projects. And if you contact me from there, and with your Michelle, the two of us have agreed, if you would like to contact me, I'd be glad to answer any solutions, come up with some solutions if you've got some problems going on with the house, because that's actually, Michelle, the biggest, I think, oops, excuse me, that there, being a solution person, a solution designer, there's lots of fabulous designers, but there's always problems on every job.
So okay, let's take that very carefully. Okay, is everybody listening and viewing? This is really important because what Sandra is offering you, this is like the A-list designer builder in this area and also internationally. She'll tell us more about that in a moment. But she is offering you some complimentary consulting if you contact either me on my agelessandtimeless.com website or my phone number 808 639-0904, or Sandra directly, and she'll give you her info.
So my phone number, which I answer because I love to speak in person, although I do chats and do all the social media as well, is 310-874-3739. And I will even add to that, because I am so strong with reading plans and spotting problems on the plans before they happen. If you want to shoot me over any of your plans, I'll review it for you, and I'll tell you if I can see any problems on it before you really go into production.
Well, I think that is one of the most generous offers that we have ever had. We've had some very generous guests, but that is amazing. And you are getting the advice and counsel and input from someone who really knows her business, as you can already tell. Okay, so tell us about your mother and your grandmother and all the accolades that you and they have received from the various governments like Malaysia and so forth. I'll let you explain what happened.
Thank you. Well, I'll start with my grandmother. My grandmother and my mother, both wonderful women. My grandmother once said to me at 100 years old, if you see somebody who looks fabulous, tell them. It might be the only compliment that they get, you know, that day, that week. So I'm very complimentary, and I've always been that way. And by the way, you look fabulous. It's wonderful to be here with you. So
I feel the same too. So we have a mutual admiration.
Mutual admiration. So with my grandmother, she received the British Empire Medal, which was given to her by the Queen, and this was for her civil services in entertainment. Now, my mother was also a dame, and she also received hers for her civil services in charity work. Now, both of them were dame. Now,
but they're from New Zealand.
They're from New Zealand.
So
that
why
was from the British Empire.
Oh, the British Empire, because
now mine are different. I'm a Dame Commander with Constantine the Great in St. Helen. This is an honorary award, and this is for my multiple years in charity work and belief in helping teenagers. This is why I'm so much behind Marco and the book, and I will talk about that in a moment.
Right.
So I'm Dame Commander from Constantine the Great, which is one of the oldest orders in the world. And last year I was invited to go to Malaysia, and Queen Helen from Southeast Asia brought me over there, also recognized me, and I am the Royal Ambassador for Architecture and Interior Design for Malaysia. And that was wonderful acknowledgement, including an appointment that I have. I work for the largest design firm over in Seon. That's the city of the terracotta soldiers. What a place that is, you know, so much.
Would you ever want to go there and do some projects?
Oh, no, I do there.
Oh, you do now?
I've worked in China for over 30 years.
Oh, my
And I'm very respected there. But, you know, I'm a mother.
You don't speak Chinese, do you?
Sure. Means thank you. That's about it.
That's about it. Okay, well, that's good. Obviously get you by. They speak English, right?
But I am a mother and a grandmother, so being home here and working on projects anywhere throughout the United States is probably closer to my heart, even though I do have a drawing for China. I've got wonderful friends and clients over there. There's nothing like working at home.
Yeah. So what inspires you the most in your work? You have such a broad dimension of the scale of your work, but what is the most inspirational part for you?
I believe it comes from nature. Everything around me, I love organicness. Long before the word organic was being used and everybody was into organic and sustainable, I was designing with organic fabrics and sustainable materials, and I really do everything I can for the environment. So my inspiration comes from, including this home. When I designed this home, it's 3 stories. I turned the entire house so it faces the beautiful hills and the trees, and all the colors inside the house are very driftwoods and natural, with lots of splashes of color, because I love color. I can't just design with black and white and chrome. That's not who I am. I really, and you'll see that in my work. There's lots of texture. You saw that?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Well, we're very alike, and even though I don't have your credentials as a designer, I designed all my projects, and so I was vertically integrated. And particularly in Hawaii, where nature is the ruler. And I would always say when people ask me, you know, what is your secret to your project, your design, and your vision? And I would always say nature.
Oh my
Nature.
gosh.
So when you said that, I got goosebumps.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful that we both have the same feeling
thing.
about design. But may I just say, when you look around, take a look around. Everywhere we look outside, we look at our clothes, we look at our technology, the furniture, the roads.
Right.
It's all been done by a designer.
Right. It's
And
true.
everything is done by designer. And then, of course, then we have the master designer. And
Which is God.
which is God that,
Yeah.
that leads us all, you know. So
That's right.
the word design is so powerful, and it is so important for the environment, and it's extremely important for your home to have comfort and to have sensibility and practicality. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in our own lives that we just can't get it together with how we want to live. And that's why working with the right professional is very important, to seek out somebody that suits you, that understands you, and that gets you. You know,
Right.
that's what's so important, I believe, with design and decorating.
You know, it's interesting because I never had a client. Obviously, as a developer, I was always developing for my own portfolio, so I never had to answer to anyone. It was what, however, saying that, I had to think about who is going to buy my home, these homes that I'm building. And in doing so, you have to ask the marketing 101 questions, which are, who is my customer? What are their wants and needs? What are their demographics and their psychographics? And, you know, what is it that I can do to make them feel like this is home? And that's exactly the same formula that you just described, Sandra, which is really to do with being a customer service professional.
Most important.
And you know, in the digital world, you think everything is getting so automated. It still boils down. Look at Amazon. You know, the customer service, the customer care, the feeling that you are one and integrated with your customer, that is really what it is about today. So anyone who's out there in marketing, or the chief growth officer, or the CEO listening and viewing today can understand what we're saying, because your number one priority is always, what is it that my customer will uniquely experience with me versus the next company, my competitor. So, and that's how you get your competitive edge. So Sandra, you're doing that. Obviously your customers love you, your clients love you. They keep coming back, and
They do.
yeah, that's another sign of success, right? Is repeat business.
I have to tell you a funny little story. About 25, 30 years ago, I did one of my early jobs, and just recently, in the last few months, I got a call from the same clients. So I go out there and quite glad and see them again after so many years. And I walk in and I say, okay, what are we doing? What are we going to remodel? They said, absolutely nothing. All we want you to do is come in and visit us. So 25, 30 years later, my work is as classic. And actually, you can see that on my house profile. Some of my projects on there are actually 25 years old.
That's
and 30 years old. And you cannot tell the difference between back then to what I'm doing today. Because
that's interesting.
I have been told that I'm an innovative designer and that a leader in the industry. And by the way, this home is a smart home, and I specialize in technology and smart home. And today, for the more expensive homes, I'm doing safe rooms.
All right.
You know, and actually, even if it's not an expensive home, like,
are the safe rooms under below ground, or where? How does this? Just curious, how does a safe room become safe?
All right, so a safe room in the larger estates are typically below ground. All right, but if you have a lovely home, you should set up a room
just in case. And everything should be in there, including the fact that if anything happens around you,
Right.
you have the ability to be able to get out through walkie-talkies,
Right.
and also enough food.
Right.
So really,
Water,
all of that. And not everybody has the luxury of being able to build a safe room underneath the ground.
Mhm.
But I do work for a variation of clients. What I love the fact about right now is that some of my clients' kids are all calling me who are now doctors and lawyers, and they want, and not only doctors and lawyers, oh, excuse me, they have, we both off the camera there. And they, you know, it doesn't matter what business they're in, the music business. I love to do home theaters. I love to do recording studios. So I've got the next generation calling me, and I'm doing their homes as well.
Yeah. So the millennials you're talking.
Yeah.
So how are the millennials different from the traditional baby boomer clients that you have had?
Oh, that's technology.
Yeah. They all know.
Oh, yeah.
They grew up with technology.
Yeah. They've all been brought up with technology, and so that they expect the best. And they don't expect the fact that because we happen to be baby boomers, that we're not up on our game. I'm totally up on my game. And what I don't know, I learn.
You learn.
Yeah, because
Right.
there's always room for, number one, learning. Doesn't matter what we're in, learning.
Right.
And there's never ever just one choice. There can be several choices. And with the millenniums, they like fast gratification.
Mhm.
However, they still like custom furniture.
Mhm.
But that's when I said earlier, I do collaborate with other furniture makers, and I also, because some of these brands I can buy quickly, and I can do a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot house, and I can do it in a few weeks.
Yeah, your time is money, and when you can buy something that is already done to your specs,
Right.
to your taste level, it's so much faster time-wise than
Just
if
knowing
you
how
have
to coordinate it.
So, okay, Sandra, you have told us some amazing stories, but you must have had some challenges, serious challenges, because we all do. So, could you tell us what has been the biggest challenge that you have faced in your life? And be honest. I know,
Okay,
you
yeah,
know,
I'm
and
always honest.
Yeah, no, I mean
I
about.
never use the word honest.
No, no,
I expect to be honest. Be
yeah,
frank. How about that?
be
Let's
frank.
be frank.
Yeah, what I'm
right?
saying
Be
is,
frank.
don't feel that you have to hesitate about sharing, because
No.
we are all a family. One of the major objectives of my podcast is to create a family feeling where people can interact with each other, and they can share their ideas, and they can basically ultimately learn from the experiences of our guests, and vicariously experience what they experience, so that they can be better at adapting to their own personal challenges. And so we're all a family. So just so you know that, you can share.
All right. So apart from the career challenges, which are every minute happening,
sure.
even while I'm sitting here talking to you, I've got career challenges going on right now.
And you're in the people business.
I'm in the people business. But the bottom line is, you can get 95% perfection, and the other 5% you just got to put down to human error, or just the fact that we can't get it 100% all right, nor can we in health. Because here I am, I'm a baby boomer. I'm very active. I've got a fabulous career. I've got incredible kids. I've got grandchildren. I'm at the height of doing everything. I'm working in big charity events. And what do you know? Last year, I had a situation came up when the doctor patted me on the back and said, sorry to tell you this, but you have cancer.
Oh, those dreaded words.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So when she patted me on the back,
That's kind of not, I mean,
how about this?
Yeah.
I went, what are you doing? Are you
Right.
telling me I'm not walking out of here today?
Right.
Right? So within 2 weeks, I had gone in, and I did a full hysterectomy. And I did go through the chemotherapy, and I went through the radiation, but I didn't miss a beat. I put it into my mind that I was going to come through, and my adult children went to the hospital with me, and we sat in front of the doctor, and the doctor said, okay, well, what do you think? And I looked at my sons, and my son said to me, what do you think? And I said to the boys, and I say to you all out there as well, if you're facing the same kind of challenges, I said, okay, well, I'm on for the ride. And my family said, well, we're on the same bus with you, Mum. So that's what I did. I took myself to the hospital, and I would take the camera like this, and there's many women that I know, and I would be a goal for them to follow, and I would talk women through it. And
So you became a coach.
I did.
Even through your own suffering and challenges, you were helping others.
Yes. And
doesn't that say a lot about Sandra?
Do you know, today, the word cancer, whereas possibly 10, 15 years ago, it was like the big C word, was so frightening. What's so amazing about, first of all, technology today, we can find out about everything, and we can share. So cancer now has become a word, and it's a household word, because to your right, to your left, behind you, in front of you, we all know somebody, adult, child, man, woman, animals, you know, who have got cancer. But it's not a death threat anymore. For some of us, it will be. But whatever it is for us, it's the way we handle life while we're here. Because look what just happened with Kobe Bryant and all those, all the fabulous families that were on board.
Right.
Look what can happen in a split second. Right. So, you know, Joel, Michelle, as we sit here today, I think our best message as women is to live as best as you can, as healthy as you can, love your family, you know, laugh with your friends, love yourself, because you know, it's mapped out for us. You've just got to do the best job you can, because none of us know. None of us know.
So on that note, tell us more about what you're doing with Marco, because not only are you giving during the time of your greatest challenge, giving to others, but even during the times when you weren't ill, let's say, or you didn't have a diagnosis that you were challenged by, you were already one of the great philanthropists. So tell us more about Marco Dairy and the opioid crisis, and how you are helping to change the world by changing that crisis, the dynamic of that crisis.
If I may address you all out there about this, it is so tragic what's happening, and so real, so very, very real. And it's affecting, again, just like cancer is affecting all of us, these opiates are affecting all of our children, our family, our friends, people we don't know. And it's very real. People are dying from these opiates. I have friends who have died. I know teenagers who have died, and people who are hooked on it now. So when Marco told me he was writing this book, and he put this together, first of all, he's very, very, very passionate about it. And as soon as I saw this, I went on Amazon and I purchased, 4 dozen books, and I started to give them out. And I've given them out to high schools, and I've given them out to friends, because he has taken heroes. There's a dozen heroes who are telling their story, just like I've told my story about my health. These are people who have really been affected by the opiate crisis. And all we can hope to expect from everybody who's listening, if one person makes one movement 1 minute at a time, do you realize how strong that could be? If one person would go and buy, and I'm saying buy, although Marco's giving out hundreds and hundreds of books, and I am also, persons buy 2 and give 1 away. Put them in the teenagers' hands. Let the teenagers know they're not alone on this. There are adults, lots of adults who are hooked on opiates. And just a couple of months ago, I was invited to go to Las Vegas to David and Jackie Siegel. They are the timeshare guru developers, and they did a big event of which I was invited to, and I went. There were 1,000 people in the ballroom of the Westgate Hotel. We were all there to celebrate the life of Victoria, their 18-year-old daughter, who died from an overdose of opiates. And she what they did is they took every one of her notes that she had written from the age of 14 years old all the way up until 18 years old when she died, and they made a book out of it. It is really an eye-opener about this little girl, but the parents have gone on now to make her voice, Victoria's voice, heard throughout the world. And I was so moved by it all. And this is that and Marco and myself and Michelle and so many others out there really getting behind this. So I really encourage you to join us all and do something. Just don't watch us. Be part of us. Yeah, here's the book again.
Here's the book again. I'm trying to show it on the screen. I hope you can see it. And Marco, I'm giving the little picture of Marco Derry.
And his name is spelled, it's M-A-R-C-O, and it's D-E-R-H-Y.
Right.
And he put the book together, and he's a fabulous guy. And so that's my passion, and that's what I'm working on with him.
That is beautiful. And so here's another opportunity, I would say, for all of us to follow Sandra's direction here. She's put so much of her love and passion, as has Marco, of course, and his own resources to get this book published. If you have any interest in solving this crisis, could you please contact me, and I will put you in touch with Marco, and you already have Sandra's number. Anybody that wants to be a part of this, we're very much open, as Sandra just said, to your support, your assistance. This is a very major way we can give back to our society.
Absolutely. And if you don't remember my number, I'm awful for numbers. I've got a photographic memory for everything else, color and design, but awful with phone numbers. Just if you'll remember my name, it's Sandra, S-A-N-D-R-A, Costa. If you just put that in Google, you put design, I come up everywhere. And you can certainly get hold of me. And I'm here to help on that and help Michelle also. And we can all make a change, can't we?
Well, it's what, so many of the famous thought leaders of the world have said, you are the change that we need to make in the world. It starts with you. It starts with all of us. So I'm so happy you've been with us today, Sandra. And I think that in parting, I'd like you to just give us one sentence that you think best describes you.
One sentence is,
sorry.
I don't follow trends. I create them.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed being with us today and meeting Sandra Costa. She's a unique talent and a beautiful soul walking on this planet. So I only like to find people who I think can inspire us. Well, she has this inspire with a capital I. So if you want to reach me again and ask me any questions about how to involve yourself with Sandra, I'm always available for my guests and my viewers. So 808-639-0904. And you have Sandra's number and you have her website. And please make the effort, because it's going to be well worth it, particularly if you're in the business of building a home, which is probably one of the most challenging experiences anyone can have in life, is to build their own home or to be in that world of construction. So here's the lady that can help you. All right. Well, thank you very much. And we'll see you again. We have 2 more podcasts this week, so we're very, very busy. We have prolific guests and a very prolific schedule. So thank you very much. This is Michelle Hughes saying goodbye.
My love for you is immeasurable. My respect for you immense. You're ageless, timeless, lace and fineness, your beauty